Hello everyone. Now let's start with chapter 10, that is drawback of duty. Now what do you mean by duty drawback? Duty drawback means taking refund of the duty paid earlier. Drawback means give refund. So there are two concepts here. First is section 74 and second is section 75. In section 74 we'll see that if you import goods into India and on import you have paid the import duty, after some time you are re-exporting these goods out of India. The same goods that had come into India are being exported out of India. Then section 74 says that if you export them without any use in India, okay, there is no use in India. Like for example, we have imported goods for exhibition purposes, like motor cars. Big motor car companies, they bring their cars to India for exhibition, just putting them in an exhibition, and after the exhibition is over they are re-exported out of India. In that case, 98% of the duty which was paid on importation will be refunded, called as duty drawback. 98% will be refunded to you. And if suppose you use it for some purpose in India after being imported and then you export it back, then the refund will be allowed, the drawback will be allowed, but at a reduced percentage. It will not be 98%, it will be a reduced percentage as notified by the government. So that is section 74, which we are going to see first, and then we'll see section 75. In 75 you have imported the raw materials into India, paid import duty, or you have purchased the domestic raw materials on which you have paid the GST. You manufacture finished goods out of it, and those finished goods are exported out of India. So in that case, the duty, the import duty that you had paid on importation of raw materials will be allowed as a refund to you. So that is the second duty drawback. The duty paid on raw material will be refunded to you if you export the finished goods out of India. Okay, so let's see both these sections. So first we'll see section 74 and the rules also, the rules which are associated with these sections. So sections only give the outline, and the actual procedure of claiming the drawback is given in the rules. So let's start with 74. 74 says drawback on re-export of duty paid goods. So this is re-export of goods in the same condition, okay, in the same condition, without any processing, without any use. So it says drawback is allowed at the rate of 98% of the import duty paid on such goods when they are entered for export. When they are entered for export. Now how do you export? If you are exporting it as a cargo and the proper officer makes an order permitting clearance and loading of the goods under section 51, we had seen earlier. So this is called as the let ship order or let export order. Then if you enter it as a baggage and you give a declaration of its contents under section 77, so you may import some goods and later on you are taking it as baggage along with you, or as postal goods and you make declaration under section 84A, okay, and the proper officer permits the clearance of goods. So in all the three cases, the thing is that the officer has permitted the export, okay, then you are entitled for 98% duty drawback. Conditions are that the goods are identified to the satisfaction of the ACDC, Assistant or Deputy Commissioner of Custom, as the goods which were imported. So you have to satisfy the ACDC that these goods which I am exporting are the same ones which I had imported into India. Now how do you satisfy? That's up to you. And the goods are entered for export within 2 years from the date of payment of duty on the importation thereof. Extension may be granted by the board by such further period as it may deem fit. Okay. And in case of goods which are provisionally assessed under section 18, the date of payment of provisional duty shall be deemed to be the date of payment of duty. Means 2 years will be counted from the date of payment of provisional duty itself and not from finalization of assessment. Okay, 2 years will commence from the date of payment of provisional duty itself. Good. Then export after use. So in case imported goods which are used before export, drawback shall be allowed at the rates notified by the central government having regard to the duration of use, depreciation in value and other relevant circumstances. And the rates which are notified are given below. So you have to remember these rates. If the use is of less than 3 months, less than or equal to 3 months, then you get 95% drawback. If it is more than 3 months but less than or equal to 6 months, then 85%. So you have to remember this table, and the question will come in the exam that a person has imported goods, paid this much import duty, and after so much use he is re-exporting the same. So how much duty drawback will be allowed to him? So we will use this table in that case. Okay. So up to 3 months 95%, 3 to 6 months 85%, 6 to 9 months 75%, and 9 to 12 months 70%, 12 to 15 months, so it is every 3 months, every quarter of use, 65%, 15 to 18 months, more than 15 to 18 months, then 60%, and above 18 months nil. Means indirectly, if it is used for 18 months and thereafter you are exporting the same, you will not get any duty drawback. Means the maximum time within which you must or you should export is 18 months. This is in case of use, if you use it and then export. And further it is given that no drawback will be allowed on the following goods which are used after their importation. If the following goods are used and after using them you are exporting them, there will be no drawback. If you export them without use, then yes, you get 98%. But if you use them and then export, no drawback. Wearing apparel, t-shirt. I have imported a t-shirt, I have used it in my recordings and then I am exporting it, no duty drawback. Tea chests, that is the storage in which the tea is stored. Cinematographic films exposed, passed by the Board of Film Censors in India, on which the movies are recorded. And the unexposed photographic films, paper and plates and X-ray films. These are different kinds of photographic material. So if they are used and then you are exporting, no duty drawback. If they are not used, if they are exported in the same condition in which they were imported as it is, then yes, you will get 98% drawback. Then in case of motor car or goods imported by person for his personal and private use, like for example I have imported this specs from Germany and then I am exporting it after some time, or motor car, so it is motor car and other personal and private goods. Okay, drawback of duty shall be calculated by reducing the import duty by, so there is a different formula for these two types of goods: motor cars which you have imported into India and personal and private goods, anything which is personal effect basically, like this watch or this specs or this pen which I am using it right now. Then let's see how to calculate the rate of drawback. So it says reducing the import duty, means whatever import duty was paid, that will take as a base. From there will reduce for use during the first year 4% per quarter. Means if I have imported some goods, say a motor car, for my personal use, and then I am re-exporting it after just 1.5 months. So 1.5 months will be taken as 1 quarter. Okay, so 1.5 months means 1 quarter. So 4% will be reduced. Means I will get drawback at the rate of 100 minus 4 is equal to 96%. If it becomes 2 quarters, means one complete quarter and maybe one part, that part will be deemed to be full quarter. So 1.5 will mean 2 quarters. So if I use it for 2 quarters, then 4 plus 4, 8% will be reduced. If I use it for 3 quarters, then 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12% will be reduced. And if I use for the whole 1 year, then 16% will get reduced. Okay, so it's like that. 4 4 4 4 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is equal to 16% will get reduced in the first year of use. Then if I continue to use it in the second year, then for the first quarter of the second year, the reduction will be 3%, then again 3%, then again 3%, then again 3% for 4 quarters of the second year, aggregating 12%. Okay, and these percentages are not to be counted on reducing balance method. Okay, this is straight line reduction. So 3% will be of 100% only, not of the WDV. Okay, then for the third year, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 on similar lines, means in all 10% will get reduced in the third year. Means if somebody uses an asset for, say, motor car for 3 years, and by the end of the third year he is re-exporting it. So how much will be reduced? 16 plus 12 means 28, and 10, 38. 38% will be reduced. So how much is left? 62% duty drawback will be allowed to him. And in the fourth year, the reduction will be 2% per quarter. Means 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 8%. But as we have seen, the section says that you have to re-export within 2 years. But board may allow extension. So here the rates are given up to 4 years. But original time is 2. So for the balance 2 years, you have to seek extension of time. You have to obtain extension of time from CBEC, means CBIC. So extension can be granted by CBIC beyond 24 months. Otherwise the normal time is 24 months. And no drawback will be allowed if exportation is after 4 years. After 4 years there is no rate, means no drawback. Understood? That is simple one. Then the rule. So the rules is there, which gives other conditions and all. Rules, as I told you, are not that important. Section is important. Question normally comes on the section. But we'll see the rules also, and we'll take only the relevant portion out of it, the important portion, not the whole thing. So firstly, the definition is given. Drawback definition is given. You don't have to read that. You know what is drawback. Refund of duty. And you know the definition of export also, so no need for that. And straight away come to procedure for claiming drawback on goods exported by post. First procedure is post. How to export goods by post. So it says, where goods are to be exported by post under claim of drawback under these rules, the outer packing, see the complete procedure is given, the outer packing carrying the address of the consignee shall also carry in bold letters the words drawback export. So you have to write this on the packet. So if you are exporting a box, you have to write this on the box, drawback export. And the exporter shall deliver to the competent postal authority along with the parcel or package a claim in form at annexure 1. It's a prescribed form. In quadruplicate means 4 copies duly filled in. So you'll have to submit the form also, obviously. Then the date of receipt of the aforesaid claim form by the proper officer of custom from the postal authority shall be deemed to be the date of filing of the drawback claim. So you have submitted the parcel to the post office. Post office will later on take it and submit it to the customs office when the goods will pass through the customs station. So the day the postal authorities submit it to customs authorities, that date will be considered as the date of filing of your claim, not when you filed with the postal authorities. Okay. So the date of receipt of the aforesaid claim form by the proper officer of custom from the postal authorities shall be deemed to be the date of filing of the drawback claim by the exporter for the purpose of section 75A, means the interest. So for calculating interest, If there is a delay in drawback, we calculate interest. So for that purpose, the claim filing will be the date when it is submitted to customs authorities. Okay. And an intimation of the same shall be given to the by the proper officer of customs to the exporter. So proper officer of customs will send an intimation to exporter that we have received your form. Then in case of the aforesaid claim form is not complete in all respects, if it is not complete, the exporter shall be informed of the deficiencies within 15 days from the after its receipt from postal authorities by a deficiency memo. A deficiency memo will be sent to you in the prescribed form, and such claim shall be deemed not to have been received. So till the time you remove the deficiencies, the claim is not received. Claim will be deemed to be received only when you submit the deficiencies, means you make good the deficiencies, and the officer is satisfied that yes, everything is received now, so then it will be deemed that you have filed the claim. So that is then given in the fourth point, that when the exporter complies with the requirements specified in the deficiency memo within 30 days of the receipt of the deficiency memo, he shall be issued an acknowledgement by the officer in the form prescribed, and the date of such acknowledgement shall be deemed to be the date of filing of the claim. Then statements and declarations to be made on exports other than post. Now if it is a cargo export, then what you have to do? In the case of exports other than post, means cargo, write down cargo export. The exporter shall at the time of export of goods state on the shipping bill, here you file the shipping bill, cargo export, or the bill of export in case of road transport, the description, quantity and such other particulars as are necessary for deciding whether the goods are entitled to drawback under 74, and make a declaration on the relevant shipping bill or the bill of export that the export is being made under claim of drawback under 74, that the duties of customs were paid on the goods imported, that the goods imported were not taken into use, or that the goods were taken into use. So if they are not taken, you write it that they were not taken into use. If they are used, you write that it is used and the period of use, so that the percentages will be suitably reduced. Okay, so you give this declaration. Provided that if the Commissioner of Customs is satisfied that the exporter or his agent has, for reasons beyond his control, failed to comply with the provisions of this clause, he may, after considering the representation, if any, made by such exporter or the agent, and for reasons to be recorded, exempt such exporter or his agent from the provisions of this clause. So if it is not possible to submit the details, then the officer is empowered to exempt you from submitting the details, because many times the details may not be available. Then furnish to the proper officer of custom copy of the bill of entry. You have to submit the bill of entry, the original bill of entry which shows the payment of import duty, or any other prescribed document against which the goods were cleared on importation. Then import invoice that you have to give copy of the import invoice, documentary evidence of payment of duty like challans and all, that you have to submit that you have paid the duty, export invoice which you are making now, and packing list and permission from Reserve Bank of India to re-export the goods wherever necessary. So all the legal formalities have to be complied, all the documents have to be given. Then it says the manner and time of claiming drawback on goods exported other than by post. So here again the time is given, that a claim for drawback under these rules shall be filed in form in annexure 2 within 3 months from the date on which the order permitting clearance and loading of exportation is made by the proper officer. So when the let ship order comes under section 51, let ship means the goods are allowed to be shipped. So in the next 3 months we have to file the drawback claim, and ACDC have the power to extend the time by further 3 months. So extension can be granted for further 3 months. So you just write 3 plus 3. So instead of remembering the whole paragraph, you just write 3 plus 3, 3 months plus 3 months. And claim shall be filed along with the following documents. Can you expect a question on this? What are the documents to be filed along with the drawback claim? I don't think so. But read once. Triplicate copy of the shipping bill. Triplicate copy means the third copy of the shipping bill bearing examination report recorded by the proper officer of customs at the time of export. The third copy of the shipping bill is to be submitted. Then copy of bill of entry, that is the original bill of entry under which we have imported the goods. Import invoice, evidence of payment of duty, that is challan and all. Permission of Reserve Bank of India for re-export if required. Export invoice and packing list. Copy of bill of lading. Bill of lading means the ship in charge has given us the document of title which is called as bill of lading when we hand over the goods to him, or the airway bill in case of aircraft, and any other document as may be specified in the deficiency memo. Then the date of filing of the claim for the purpose of 75A means interest shall be the date of affixing the dated receipt stamp on the claims which are complete in all respects and for which the acknowledgement shall be issued in such form as may be prescribed. So when you submit your application, they will give you a dated receipt stamp that this is the date on which we have received your claim. So that date becomes important for calculation of interests. Then any claim which is incomplete, again that same point, deficiency memo will be issued. If your claim is incomplete, then deficiency memo will be issued to the claimant within 15 days of the submission of the claim, and then he will have time of 30 days to rectify the deficiencies. Simple. And fifth point says that where any order or for payment of drawback is made by Commissioner Appeal, Central Government or any court against an order of the proper officer of customs, means if the drawback is coming out of appeals, okay, we have gone into appeal and the appellate authority has allowed us a drawback, then the manufacturer exporter may file a claim in the manner prescribed in this rule within 3 months from the date of receipt of the order of appellate authority. Then payment of drawback and interest. So that is simple. It will be given to you or your agent authorized by you, and it will be given by check. The date of issue of the check will be taken, and by credit in the exporter's account maintained with the customs house, the date of such credit. If you have an account with the customs house, it can be credited to your account also. So then that date on which it is credited will be deemed to be the date of payment. So all these are simple points. Then repayment of erroneous or excessive drawback. Simple one. If by mistake the drawback is given to you or excessively given, then you have to refund it back, and along with interest. That is simple point. No need to read. Repay, just underline this point. Repay the amount so paid erroneously or in excess as the case may be, and where the claimant fails to repay the amount, it shall be recovered from him in manner given under 142, that is coercive recovery procedures. And power to relax is there. No need to read that. That has nothing to do with your exams. Then comes section 75. 75 is drawback, as I told you, of duty paid on imported raw materials. Okay. So let's see. It says where it appears to the central government that in respect of goods of any class or description manufactured, processed, or on which any operation has been carried out in India, being goods which have been entered for export and in respect of which an order permitting clearance and loading thereof for exportation has been made under section 51, means we have manufactured some goods in India and these goods are being exported and the export clearance is obtained, or being goods entered for export by post under section 84. This we'll see later on. Section 84 is the postal export section, and the permission is given for exportation. A drawback should be allowed. Drawback should be allowed of what? See, duties of customs chargeable under this act on any imported material or class or description of a class or description used in the manufacture or processing of such goods. Such goods means which are being exported out of India, or carrying out operation on such goods which are being exported out of India. So there are goods manufactured in India which are being exported, and imported raw materials have been used in the manufacture or processing of those goods. Okay, then the import duty that was paid on such raw material at the time of import will be allowed to you as refund, called as duty drawback. The central government may, by notification in the official gazette, direct the drawback shall be allowed in respect of such goods in accordance with and subject to rules made thereunder. So these rules we are going to see just now, and in these rules we will see that what the government does, they prescribe a rate of drawback called as all industry rate of drawback for different goods. Like for example, they may specify an all industry rate for mobile phones manufactured in India. That if a particular mobile phone is manufactured in India and is exported out of India, and raw materials were imported and used in the manufacture of this mobile phone, then drawback can be claimed at such and such rate. How that rate is prescribed, how that rate arrives, that we'll see in the rules. So one is all industry rate, means whoever is manufacturing mobile phones and exporting will get refund at that rate. Second is brand rate. If there is no all industry rate fixed for my goods which I am exporting out of India, then I can go and ask the government to fix a rate for me. So they fix a rate for me called as brand rate. And there is a special brand rate. So there are basically three rates: all industry rate, brand rate, and special brand rate. Special brand rate applies in that case where all industry rate is applicable to my goods. Say I am exporting mobile phones, all industry rate is prescribed as say 20%. Means whoever exports mobile phones get 20% duty drawback, 20% of the value of phone. Assuming that the raw material that he has used and the duty that they carry in comparison with the output sales is 20%. So government announces 20% all industry rate. How this happens, what is the reasoning behind that rate, I will explain in the rules. Okay, at this point just imagine that there is all industry rate, but if I am not satisfied with the all industry rate, in my case the duty paid on raw material has a much higher proportion than 20%. Means out of the total value of export goods, 32% constitutes import duty, and I am not happy with 20%. So then I have to go and ask the government to fix a special brand rate for me because I am not happy with the all industry rate. So then they check my records and they fix a special rate for me called as special brand rate. So that is how it happens. So we'll see all these rules in detail after we finish this section first. Then no drawback shall be allowed. Again there is a restriction on drawback in this case also. If the export value of the goods or class of goods is less than the value of imported material used in the manufacture or processing of such goods, or is not more than such prescribed percentage of the value of the imported material used in the manufacture or processing of such goods. Now these 2 points have to be read down together, or okay. So it says that I am exporting this pen, right? So I am exporting this pen at say 200 rupees. But the raw materials that were imported into India and used in manufacture of this pen were costlier. Means the raw material were worth 350 rupees and I am exporting the finished goods, the pen, at only 200 rupees. So in that case, the government will not allow me any duty drawback. The reason is simple, because I am not gaining any foreign currency. I am actually losing foreign exchange for the government of India, because importation results in outflow of foreign exchange. Exportation of finished goods will result in inflow of foreign exchange. So government says at least it should be a favorable position. If your raw materials costed us $20, the finished goods should fetch us something more than that. If not, then what's the use of exporting? There's no use. Government is not benefited. So they will not give you any refund, no duty drawback, or such percentage as the government may notify. So difference between A and B is that this says just compare the two, sale value with the purchase price of the imported raw material. This says the government can specify a different percentage also. Like government can say that your export value should be at least 200% of the imported raw materials, at least 300%. So they can increase also. Or third point, the sale proceeds. The sale proceeds are not brought back into India. You receive the foreign currency there, but you don't bring it back into India within the time allowed under FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. Then the government loses out. Even though you are exporting, even though your values are good, but still, if you don't bring the money back into India, then that whole foreign currency is lost. So therefore you will not get drawback. So therefore the third condition is sale proceeds in respect of such goods are not received by or on behalf of the exporter in India within the time allowed under FEMA. And if drawback is already allowed, it shall be recovered. Then you have rules for this section also, section 75. And here, before we commence the rules, let me tell you what we are going to see in these rules. Some very important points, some logic is there. You understand this logic and then you will understand the rules like butter. So let me tell you some logic. Logic is that these are the raw materials that you have imported, right? And then you manufacture the finished goods. So for example, that you make 1 unit of finished goods. To manufacture this 1 unit of finished goods, you need raw material A, B, C, D, E. There are 5 raw materials that you use for manufacturing 1 unit of finished goods. Now what the government does is, it specifies, because it's very difficult to check the raw materials used by each importer, because see, when you export this 1 unit, you are going to get duty drawback of the duties paid on all these raw materials. Now how will you prove to the government that how much duty was paid? And if there are millions of exporters, will each one of them go to the government for each consignment that we have exported these goods, and then prove to the government how many raw materials you had used and what was the duty paid on each one of them, and take the total and then prove and apply the formula? It's so difficult, right? So what the government does, it prescribes a rate of drawback on a particular goods. Like for example, watch. I'm having this watch. So if government finds out that a lot of companies are manufacturing watches in India and exporting them out of India, so they will prescribe a rate of drawback on watches, that if any manufacturer in India export watches outside India, he will get drawback at the rate of 15% of the value of the watch. Means this 1 unit is now 1 watch, okay, 1 watch, and I will export it at a certain value, export value. For example, I am exporting it at 10,000 rupees, and some other company might export it at 25,000 rupees, and still some other high quality manufacturer will export it at maybe 1 lakh also. So different manufacturers will export at different prices. Watch is available from 2,000 rupees to lakhs of rupees, okay, but each one of us will use different kinds of raw material, different quality of raw material, commensurate to our production process. What the government does is, it will prescribe a particular rate of drawback for export of watches. So it will say that whoever export watches from India will get duty drawback, I will say DD, okay, duty drawback at the rate of 15% of the export value. So if you export your watch at 10,000, you will get 15% of 10,000 as drawback. If somebody exports at 25,000, he will get drawback at 15% of 25,000. And if someone exports at 1 lakh, he will get refund at 15% of 1 lakh. So now the question is, where did that 15% came from? So let's understand the logic. This is the logic you have to understand. Now this rate, first of all, I'll tell you what this rate is called as. This rate notified by the government is called as the all industry rate. All industry rate means any exporter of these goods, industry means watch industry here. So any exporter of watches will get drawback at the rate of 15%. So this becomes an all industry rate. Every watch manufacturer will get drawback at 15%. Okay, how this 15% came, let's understand. So what the government will do, government will investigate, they will conduct inquiry of hundreds of manufacturers who export watches out of India. They'll call for the records and study the consumption of raw materials. Firstly, they will identify what are the raw materials used. So on an average, we know that 5 raw materials are used. Somebody may be using some kind of raw material, another person may be using another kind of raw material. Okay, but on an average, they use say 4, 5, 6, 7 types of raw materials. Then we'll find out that how much quantity is consumed to manufacture 1 unit of finished goods. So A is consumed at 200 grams, B is say 500 grams, C 100 grams, D 50 grams, and E 20 grams. So this is the quantity of raw materials consumed to manufacture 1 unit of finished goods. Then we'll see that what is the general value of these raw materials in import market. What is the value? What is the normal price at which they come into India? The normal price. Okay, so we'll find out the normal values. So it may give us whatever 1200, 3600, 5000 for 100 grams. For these quantities, we'll find out the value. So first we'll find out the quantity, then we'll find out the value. And then we know what are the rates of tax applicable to A, B, C, D, and E. So we'll apply the rates of tax and find out the duty that should have been paid on these values. So we'll find out the duty. X amount, X amount, X amount, X amount, whatever it comes to. Then we'll take the total of this. So this gives me the total duty that you have paid on your inputs in relation to 1 unit of your output. Okay, so this is the duty. So this is all industry average. We have checked the records of all the manufacturers, almost all, and this is an average calculation of the full industry. Then we'll see what are the unit prices at which they are sold, the watches are sold, and we'll take the average of that also. So raw material average, finished goods average, and then we'll compare this amount with the average sale price. We'll find out the percentage. So if this is say 15,000 and the average sale price is 1 lakh, means 15% is the component of duty as compared to sale price of 1 unit of export goods. Once we find that, we know the percentage. That percentage is then defined as the all industry rate of duty drawback. Now whoever exports this unit of this finished goods will get drawback at the rate of 15% on the export value. Understood? So drawback will be given. Now what happens is that some people will be dissatisfied with this rate. They will feel that their actual duty, in my case, if I feel that my raw materials are slightly different and my duty paid on raw materials is much more than 15% of my finished goods value. It comes to say 28%, because mine is a special kind of watch, and for me the raw material costs are much more, and the duty goes up to 28% as compared to export value. But government is giving me 15% only. I am dissatisfied. So then the rules say, okay, don't be dissatisfied, don't cry. come to us. We are here to help you. Okay, come to us. Then you have the option to apply for a special brand rate because you are not satisfied with the all industry rate. So you go and make an application to the government. Please prescribe a special brand rate for me for duty drawback. So then government will call all your records. You have to submit all the records of your raw material. Prove that this much is the duty paid on your inputs. Government will calculate the percentage for you, and that percentage will then be announced for you only as a special brand rate. Understood? So all industry rate is prescribed, but if you are not satisfied, you can call for a special brand rate, fixing of special brand rate, and then that rate will apply only to you, not to anyone else. Others will get this 15%, you will get that 28% or whatever is fixed. Thirdly, there might be some goods for which the all industry rate is not prescribed. Yeah, I am exporting something for the first time out of India. So government has not fixed an all industry rate for my product. Then what? How will I get the drawback? Then you have to follow the same system. You have to make an application to the government for fixing a brand rate, not the special rate, brand rate, because there is no all industry rate prescribed for my goods. So I go and make an application, government calls for the records, checks them, finds out the consumption and the amount and the value and everything, and then they will fix a rate for me, whatever rate is fixed, say 12-13%. So I'll get drawback at that rate. Now you start exporting the same goods. Will you get drawback at my rate? No. You will also have to go to the government and get a rate fix for you. And a third person starts exporting, he will have to make an application and get a rate fix for him. And then this year 4, 5, 10 exporters start exporting the same goods. Next year what the government will do? They will now come to know that okay, these goods have become a normally exported goods, so let us fix a all industry rate. So next year government can fix an all industry rate for all of us. Then each one of us will get the drawback at that rate. Then again, if we are not satisfied, we'll go for a special brand rate. So understood, there are three kinds of rates: all industry rate, special brand rate, and brand rate. And then what the government does, suppose they have announced the all industry rate. This all industry rate will continue to apply till the time the values and the rates of duty remain the same. But you know that every year there are changes in the import duty rates. So whenever there is a change in the import duty rate of any of the raw material, then the old industry rate, all industry rate, will not apply. So then government fixes a new all industry rate. So every year you will find a notification somewhere, because the rates change in the month of March. The budget is presented in February. So as soon as the budgets are presented, the rates change. So then they take around 2, 3, 4 months to calculate to make all the calculations and then prescribe the all industry rates. So by June, July, you find a notification prescribing the all industry rates for different goods. So they issued a complete table containing hundreds of goods and the all industry rates of drawback applicable to them. So what will happen in between this time? The import duty rates have changed in March, but the all industry rate is fixed in June or July. Government takes time, it needs time to calculate. So during this phase, during this time, they will give you provisional drawback. They will give you provisional drawback if you are exporting your goods in between this time, and then when the rate is finalized, then you get the difference as a final drawback. So all these points are given in these rules. Let's see. Definitions you don't have to study. Export and all, everything you know. Imported, tax invoice, everything. Now come straight away to rule number 3. Subject to provisions of the Customs Act 1962 and the Excise Act of 1944, because earlier there was Excise Act, and these rules. Now it will be, you have to change it as GST Act. Okay. A drawback may be allowed on the export of goods at such amount or at such rates as may be determined by the central government. Now you can understand. So as determined by central government means which rate? All industry rate. This rate is called as all industry rate. Okay. Provided that where any goods are produced or manufactured from imported material or excisable material. Now some raw material can be excisable, some raw material can be imported ones. Now excisable means the domestic ones, okay, on which there will be GST paid. On some of which only. Now the point is that duty is paid on some of which only. The duty chargeable thereon has been paid and not on the rest. Now the problem arises, government has fixed all industry rate assuming that you have paid tax on all the inputs. But if it comes to the notice of the government that you have not paid tax on all the inputs, you have paid tax on only some of the inputs, like A, B, C you have paid tax, but D and E you have not paid tax, then will you get the rate, all industry rate drawback? No. Then your drawback at this rate will be suitably reduced. Will be reduced and the reduced amount will be given to you as drawback. So according to calculation of government, like in this example, government has calculated that this much duty you have paid on D and E, but if it comes to notice that these duties have not been paid, then the all industry rate will be reduced by this amount that you haven't paid and the balance will be given to you. So that proviso is given here, that you have paid on some and not the rest, or only a part of the duty chargeable. Part of the duty chargeable has been paid, means you have claimed some concessions on import, or the duty paid has been rebated or refunded. You have claimed some other type of rebate or refund of the duty paid in whole or in part, or given as credit. You have claimed credit, ITC. You have claimed credit under the provisions of the Customs Act and the rules made thereunder, or the Excise Act, means now the GST Act and the rules made thereunder. The drawback admissible on the said goods shall be reduced, taking into account the lesser duty paid or the rebate or refund or credit obtained. So whatever duty you have not paid will be reduced. Whatever duty has been rebated to you, refunded to you, or the credit given, ITC given, will be reduced. The balance will be given to you as duty drawback. Then provided further that no drawback shall be allowed. No drawback shall be allowed. So again, this is the negative list, you can say, or the prohibitions where drawback will not be allowed. So these are in addition to the section itself. These are in addition to the section itself. Okay, section gave 3 cases where drawback will not be allowed. These are in addition to that. If the said goods, except THS used in packing of blended tea, have been taken into use after manufacture. If something has been taken into use after manufacture, then the drawback will not be allowed. It has to be used in the manufacturing process. But if something is used after manufacture, then no drawback. Except THS. THS are used for packing. They will be entitled for drawback. Here they are entitled for drawback, because here you are importing bare tea chests, then storing tea into it and exporting them. So then drawback will be allowed on the tea chests. So here tea chest is used as a raw material, you can say, as a packing material for packing the export tea. Then if the said goods are produced or manufactured using imported material or excisable material in respect of which duties have not been paid. We just saw this. If duties have not been paid, then no refund, no drawback. Wherever excisable material is written, you now call it as GST material. Then on jute batching oil, this is a specific disallowance. Jute batching oil, don't ask me what it is. Just remember the word jute batching oil, used in manufacture of export goods, namely jute, yarn, twist, twine, thread, cords and ropes, including Bimli, Patam, jute or Mesta fiber. God knows what they are. I don't know. Okay, just remember the names. Then if the said goods being packing material have been used in or in relation to export of jute yarn, so anything which is any packing material which is used to export jute yarn, jute fabrics and jute manufactures, means different articles of jute. I don't know what the government has against jute. They are disallowing the drawback on jute. No problem. Then the logic is given in sub rule 2. In determining the amount or the rate of drawback, the central government shall have regard to. This is the logic which I have explained you, right? The average quantity or value, the consumption quantity and value will be ascertained. First of all, what are the raw materials used, what are the average quantity consumed and value. Then average quantity or value of imported material or excisable material used, means how much of it is imported, how much is normal in Indian made raw material. That will also be checked. Then average amount of duties paid. See, everywhere it is written average. So average of what? Of the industry as a whole. So government is going to call records from all the exporters, almost all the exporters of this particular kind of goods, and then they will be analyzing all the costing records. Okay, so therefore average. So average means average of the whole industry. Duty paid on imported and excisable means the GST now. Then the average amount of duties paid on material wasted, if there is any material wastage, and how much duty goes into that, or catalytic agents and all. And provided that if any such waste or catalytic agent is reused in any process of manufacture or is sold, the average amount of duties on the waste or catalytic agent reused or sold shall also be deducted. Means it will be averaged out because it is reused. So it will not be added to just one product but distributed over a number of products, you can say. Then the average amount of duties paid or on imported material or excisable material used in containing or packing the export goods, means the packing material will also be considered except the jute packing material. Okay, packing material and any other information which the government may consider relevant or useful for this purpose. So they will take all this into consideration. Then revision of rates. The central government may revise the amount or the rates under rule 3. So as I told you, every year when the rate of import duties change in the budget session, they will revise the drawback rates also, considering the new import duty rates into consideration. Then determination of date from which the amount or the rate of drawback is to come into force and the effective date for application of the amount or rate of drawback. Which date it will come into force? So it says the government may specify the period up to which any amount or rate of drawback determined under 3 or 4 as the case may be shall be in force. Means normally when they issue a notification they say that this will be in force for next year. So normally the all industry rate is fixed for 1 year period and then it is revised next year. Secondly, where the amount or the rate of drawback is allowed with retrospective effect. Now you understand why retrospective? I told you the import duty rates change from March, but government takes time to calculate the new drawback rates for all the kinds of goods, hundreds of goods, and then they issue a notification somewhere in June, July. So when the notification is issued in June, July, the new rate which is prescribed is made applicable from March. That is when the import duty rates had changed. So notification may come in June, July, but it is given retrospective effect from the date the import duty rates were changed. So that is given here. Retrospective effect. Such amount or rate shall be allowed from such date as may be specified by the government in the notification, which shall not be earlier than the date of change in the rate of import duties. Right? And the provisions of section 16 and 83 of the Customs Act shall determine the amount and the rate of drawback applicable to goods exported under these rules. So that is fine. Section 16 we have seen the rate, when the rate is to be taken, when you file the shipping bill. Then cases where amount or rate of drawback has not been determined. This is the brand rate. Not been determined means all industry rate has not been determined. So you have to make an application for fixing a brand rate for you, right? So this rule is for that purpose. Very simple. Where no amount or rate of drawback has been determined in respect of the goods, means all industry rate has not been fixed. Okay, all industry rate has not been fixed. Then the exporter may within 3 months from the date of relevant applicability of the so apply to PC and C. That is within 3 months of export, apply to PC or C, as the case may be, having jurisdiction over the place of export for determination of the amount or the rate of drawback, stating all the relevant facts. So facts will be the whole consumption record, including the proportion in which the materials or components are used in the production or manufacture of goods and the duties paid on such materials or components. So you have to prove your consumption and what duty you have paid on each of them, each of the raw materials. Provided that in case of exporter is exporting the aforesaid goods from more than one place of export, he shall apply to the principal commissioner or commissioner of customs having jurisdiction over any one of the said places of export. Obviously, if you are exporting from different places, you will make an application at any one place. And the ACDC, as the case may be, may extend the aforesaid period of 3 months by further 3 months, and PCC may extend it by further period of 6 months. Extension of time can be granted. And the ACDC or PCOC, as the case may be, may on application and after making such inquiry as it thinks fit, grant extension or refuse to grant extension after recording reasons in writing. And an application fee of 1% of FOB value of exports or 1000 rupees, whichever is less, shall be payable for applying for grant of extension. When you make an extension application to ACDC, okay, you have to pay fees of 1% of FOB value of export. Sometimes even the profit margins are less than 1%. So forget the extension. You go in time. Huh? Don't make a delay. Otherwise, you will lose considerably. But no problem. 1% is given. 1% of FOB value of exports or 1000 rupees, whichever is less. So normally it is 1000 only. Because export value may be FOB value of export can be like crores. So 1% of crores will be in lakhs. So we'll take 1000 rupees. So you go pay it 1000 rupees as application fees for extension of time. Okay. ACDC. And if you go to PC or C, then you have to pay 2% of FOB value or 2000 rupees, whichever is less. Means 2000 rupees. When you go to PC or C. Then on receipt of the application, the PC or C, as the case may be, shall after making or causing to be made such inquiry, means the whole costing records will be checked, determine the amount or the rate of drawback. So this rate of drawback is called as the brand rate. Okay, and this brand rate will apply only to you, not to anyone else. And where an exporter desires, he may be granted drawback provisionally. Provisionally means that since this will take time now for calculation of the brand rate. So first you will be given some provisional drawback. Means as soon as you make an export, you make an application for fixation of brand rate. In the meantime, the officer will allow you provisional drawback of some amount, and when the brand rate is then finalized, then it will be adjusted. So that is there. So it says that provisional amount of drawback shall be granted to him towards drawback on the export of such goods pending determination of the amount of the rate of drawback under clause B. And the PC or C of custom, as the case may be, may after considering the application allow provisionally payment of amount not exceeding the amount claimed by the exporter in respect of such export. Not exceeding the amount claimed means obviously the provisional drawback will not be more than what you have claimed. Provided that the PC or C, as the case may be, may for the purpose of allowing provisional payment in respect of such export require the exporter to enter into a bond. You have to give a bond, because it may happen that provisional payment is more and final assessment is less. So then you'll have to refund the drawback. So therefore you will be required to give a bond that if it is found later on that the drawback given to me is more, I will refund the amount. So that undertaking has to be given. So for that you have to file a bond, for such amount and subject to such conditions as he may direct, or enter into a bond for an amount not exceeding the full amount claimed by such exporter as drawback in respect of the particular consignment, and binding himself to refund. You have to write this. Bond means an undertaking, so you have to write this, to refund the amount so allowed provisionally if for any reason it is found that the duty drawback was not admissible, or refund the excess then the final assessment. If it is found that it was not given, not payable to me, I will refund the whole thing, and if the final assessment is less and provisional given to me is more, I will refund the excess. And then it is given that when the final determination is made, finally determined, the amount paid provisionally will be adjusted against the amount finally payable, and if the amount so adjusted is in excess or falls short of the drawback finally payable, such exporter shall repay to the PCOC, or as the case may be, the excess or the entitled deficiency, as the case may be. If provisional was less and final is more, the government will give him the difference. If the provisional was more and the final is less, the assessee will refund the amount to the government. And the bond will be with security or surety as may be prescribed, and where the government considers it necessary so to do, it may revoke the rate of drawback also, as the case may be, and direct the PCOC or the case may be to withdraw the rate of drawback. The central government has the power to revoke the drawback determined by PCOC, or direct PCOC to withdraw the rate of drawback. Explanation is of no use. Then next point is the spatial brand rate. Point number 7, spatial brand rate. SBR, spatial brand rate. Now this is, as I explained it to you, that all industry rate is fixed for you, but the amount that is given to you at all industry rate is very less as compared to your actual duty amount on inputs, and it should be less than 80%. It should be less than 80%. Means if you feel the drawback allowed to you should be 100 and you are getting only 65 or 70 as per the all industry rate, then you have a right to go and ask for spatial brand rate. If it is within the difference of 20%, you cannot ask for spatial brand rate. Like if you should get 100 and you are getting 90, you cannot ask for spatial brand rate. It should be less than 80% of the duty actually paid on raw materials and components. So then the whole thing is given, the remaining is language, so you forget about it. You can make an application to PCOC, and proviso gives the same points like we had seen for brand rate, that if you are exporting from more than one place, you can make application at any one place, and the 3 months period can be extended. ACDC can extend by further 3 months and PCOC can extend by 6 months. And then the fees is also same, 1% of FOB or 1000, whichever is less for AC or DC, and 2% or 2000, whichever is less if you make an application to PC or C for extension. Other points all are same. Then they will hold inquiry, and after inquiry they will determine the rate. Then provisional drawback, everything is same now. Provisional will be given to you first, and then on finalization the adjustment will be done. And the government can also ask for revocation. Government can revoke the spatial brand rate fixed by the PCOC, or direct the PCOC to cancel it. And 8 says that no amount of rate of drawback shall be determined in respect of any goods or class of goods under 6 or 7 as the case may be if 6 or 7 means no brand rate or spatial brand rate will be determined if the export value of each of such goods or class of goods in the bill of export or shipping bill is less than the value of imported material. This we have seen earlier only, that if export value is less than import, then drawback is not given. So your spatial brand rate or brand rate will not be fixed at all. or is not more than such percentage as may be notified. This also we had seen. So if the government has prescribed a different percentage, we will follow the different percentage. Otherwise, the import value as it is, 100%. Then upper limit of drawback amount or rate. The drawback amount or rate determined under 3 shall not exceed 1/3 of the market price of the export product. Means the duty drawback that you are getting will not be more than 1/3 of market price of export product. Means if you are exporting at a price of say 100 rupees, and if you apply the drawback rate, if it is going beyond 1/3, it will be restricted to 1/3. It cannot go beyond 1/3. So drawback, duty drawback will be less than or equal to 33.33%, you can say. 1/3 is 33.33%. Then power to require submission of information and documents. This is of no use. Leave it. And access to factory. These are all not for exam point of view. The ACDC can go and check your factory and all. Then procedure. Now procedure is similar to 74 that we had seen, by post and other than post. So all those points remain the same. The outer packing has to have this inscription drawback export, and you have to submit the form also in annexure 1. In quadruplicate means 4 copies. And the date of filing will be the date when the postal authorities submit your application to the customs authorities. That will be deemed to be the date of filing of the claim. And if the deficiency is there, then they will send us the deficiency memo within 15 days. Then we'll have to correct it within 30 days. And only when it is corrected, the application will be deemed to have been filed and an acknowledgement will be given to us. So that complete procedure is the same. And also for other than post, it is also just like section 74, same to same, so no need to read it again. No, these points don't come in the exam. Then manner and time of claim drawback on goods exported other than by post, that time is also same. Then payment of drawback and then supplementary claim. All these are not to be read. Only the 3 rates are important. Questions come on them. What do you mean by all industry rate? What do you mean by brand rate? And what do you mean by special brand rate? And then if it is paid in excess, it will be have to be refunded. And where export proceeds are not realized, if you don't bring the export proceeds of the exported goods within the time allowed under FEMA, then the drawback allowed to you will be taken back. So all these points you don't have to read. Then come to 75A, interest on drawback. So it says interest receivable by exporter, drawback payable under 74-75 is not paid within 1 month from the date of filing of the claim. So 1 month time is allowed to government to give you drawback. If they don't give within 1 month, then you are entitled to 6% interest per annum from the expiry of 1 month till the date of payment of drawback. And interest payable by exporter, this is in case where you get erroneous drawback and then you will have to return it back. Then you have to pay interest at the rate of 15% per annum from the date of payment of drawback to you, the erroneous drawback, till you give it back to the government. And time taken to test the export goods, which can be maximum 1 month, shall be excluded from determining the 1 month period. So that much extension will be granted if the export goods are required to be tested. And interest payable to government should be paid within 2 months from the date of demand. If not paid within the stipulated time, recovery procedures of section 142 shall apply. And then there is 76, prohibition and regulation of drawback in certain cases. No drawback shall be allowed if the market price of the goods is less than the amount of drawback due thereon. This is again a general restriction. That if the market price of goods which you are exporting is less than the amount of drawback, the drawback amount is more and the market price of the export goods is less, then no drawback will be allowed. Or if the drawback due in respect of any goods is less than rupees 50, don't come to as a beggar. Don't ask for 10 rupees and 20 rupees. Minimum drawback should be 50, then only come. Otherwise not. And lastly, it says that the central government is of the opinion that the goods of any specified description are likely to be smuggled back into India if there is a chance of smuggling back. So you are exporting it and claiming the drawback, and then you will re-import it through smuggling, means off the record, to a beach in Goa. Then you will not be allowed drawback. The government will prohibit the drawback. It may prohibit the drawback in respect of such goods, or may allow subject to restrictions and conditions. Lot of restrictions and conditions can be imposed. So that was a chapter of duty drawback. Basically a simple chapter. One question of 3 marks at the max will come out of this, and the rules are given in detail here in the notes, but you don't have to study that much in detail. As I told you, important rules only have to be remembered, and sections have to be remembered, section 74, 75, and out of the rules the important points have to be remembered. Rest are academic interest, they are procedures, they don't come in the exam. Fine, very good.